Good day, brothers and sisters. This is your host, Job Moraga from Maran Spiritual Ministries. Brothers and sisters, today I have finally recorded the video that I have promised you in the last 3 videos that we have posted. I did record a full 1 hour video, brothers and sisters, and I thought that it was too much, it was a bit comprehensive. And also, I thought that possibly there was this inner voice that said that this one is meant for your autobiography. So probably it will take care of 3-4 chapters of my autobiography that I've started working on. I know that there is still a long way to publish it. I knew, brothers and sisters, a year ago that there are only 2 books left in me. One I'm busy with now, and it will form part of the discussion today. And the other one, obviously, is the autobiography, which will come down the line, 10 years, 14 years down the line. But today, brothers and sisters, before we can start with whatever that I've been promising you, I just want you to know the anchor scripture. Where would I be basing my discussions on? It will be based on the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. Only verse 1. I'm going to read verse 1. So verse 1 reads as follows. I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you were called. And brothers and sisters, here is my suggestion. Please try to stick to this one, the King James Version. There are many versions out there, brothers and sisters, but I get concerned as I sense that the original language that was intended is being diluted each and every day. So you will see that when you read the other versions, except the one that I've shown you, the language has been diluted. Vocation, for instance, in the olden times, it was what it was. Vocation was everything about you, your purpose, your destiny. It included your marriage. It included your relationship with God, relationship with others. That was what vocation was all about. It was a broad concept. But we have narrowed it down. Vocation for us now is like a career. So that is why, brothers and sisters, it's very important to be selective about these different versions of Bibles out there. Try to stick to King James, and if you can, try to stick to the original language. So, brothers and sisters, today I want to talk about something very profound, and it is based on 2 deliverables from me. Number 1, to encourage you. Number 2, to say to you that don't ever give up. Wait on God. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Don't give up. Wait on God. So here's my story. I don't want this to be as long as the original version that I'm now scaling down, that I'm narrowing to a few, maximum, it should be around 15 minutes. That one was an hour plus. So I just thought of you, brothers and sisters, listening to me for an hour plus. But it was the most comprehensive video that I've ever recorded. It is edited. We'll leave it there for the autobiography one day. So, brothers and sisters, imagine this scenario. You are doing your final year. Your ego was brushed. You were told that you are one of the bright students, and you're busy with your final year. This big mining organization has given you a bursary, and they've been paying for your tuition. They've been paying for your school fees, your books. They give you even a monthly allowance. And imagine, in 1991, of course, yes, I'm about to turn 60, probably 2 more years or so. So in 1991, this is where the story began. So those of you who are 37 years old, I think this story will excite you, because you were tiny, tiny little babies. And of course, the other thing that I want you to remember, brothers and sisters, is that these scenes that I'm going to talk about, they play themselves out prior to democracy. I think we only started voting, some of us, in 1996, so 5 years prior to democracy. So you'll understand that there was a lot of resistance and there was a lot of softening also from white folks. They were battling, they were lost. So they didn't know what their identity is. They were scared. Others were excited. They embraced the new democracy. So think about that period, brothers and sisters. So 2 months before I could write my final exams, I think I had already started writing my final exams. A man arrives from this mining house and he says, look, we're short of manpower, middle to senior management. We want you, as soon as you are done with your exams, to come and work. And I said, but what happened to the agreement? I mean, you agreed that I should do my honors, and I've always maintained that I wanted to be this lawyer for this big organization that we work for. But it boiled down to two choices, really, brothers and sisters. Either you pay us all the money that we have been helping you with, or you go and work. So, brothers and sisters, my dreams of becoming a super lawyer then just evaporated. My dreams of being a senior at the university just evaporated. Let's be honest, brothers and sisters. I'm taking to the gentlemen now. Let's be honest. As a guy, first year, second year, third year, there is no lady who would look at you at the university. They start looking at you when you do fourth year. So I thought, well, final year plus honors, yeah, that should cut it. Well, that privilege was taken away from me, brothers and sisters. The privilege of going home to spend some holidays with my folks was also taken away from me. The day that I finished writing my exams, I was in a taxi going to this particular mine, not even knowing where it is. I said to the taxi driver, just drop me off at the right place. I arrived at this particular mine. I went to security. I was then referred to the personnel department where I was processed, and then I was taken to the single quarters. They call them single quarters for people like me who were like at the level then of a personal officer, and we are taken to single quarters. And then, of course, those who were married, they had all these nice houses that were allocated to them. But be that as it may, brothers and sisters, I immediately went into some form of depression, because the very next day when I started working, I encountered this language called Fanagalo. So as a 22-year-old, I had hoped that by going to the university, I will be learning English, and then I will be speaking English wherever I'll be working. Only to find that at the mine it didn't work quite like that. And then also there was this little factor of Afrikaans, because the remnants of apartheid were still there, and some of the senior managers, my bosses, some of them still thought that I wanted to speak Afrikaans, even during those times. And some of my seniors, African seniors, at the level of SPO. SPO was senior personnel officer and all of that, all those high-ranking positions. And some of them, they compromised. I mean, these were old people. They came from far with the mining environment and all of that. But it is not really about that. It is about what happened one night while I was there. This old man was troublesome, because we stayed in the same vicinity. And then he would wake up, because he had nothing to do, brothers and sisters. He would wake up probably at 4 a.m. and by 6 a.m. he expected everybody to be at work. I was supposed to start work at 7, but he expected me and those who reported to me to be at work at 6 a.m. And the rebellious nature in me, Ask him, why my contract says 7. Why do you want me here at 6 a.m.? Yeah, this is not university. He went on and on and on and on. And it was more a question of I'm being troublesome. And I said, no, I do want to understand. This is what it says. Why do you want me at 6 a.m.? No, because the people who report to you start at 6 a.m. And I said, well, that is what it is. But immediately, brothers and sisters, it was those kind of challenges, the remnant of racist old people and all of that. And also the question of Fanagalo, when I spoke to some of my friends then who were still at the university, they were now seniors, they would tell me what they were up to, the plans that they had. And I had to tell them that, with this degree, this junior law degree, I go underground and I go and see, where the people who report to me work, the working conditions and all of that. But I was plunged into this mine, brothers and sisters, as one of the very few young graduates, like I said, very young, 22, 23 years old, plunged into this mine. And there were issues there. They had just experienced the longest strike ever in the history of the South African mining industry. And remember, the current president, actually, President Ramaphosa, his successor, I think he was called Chipelani. That's the guy that I was negotiating with and all of that. But brothers and sisters, at that very young age, I had to start solving problems. I had problems of the miners who were dismissed. I'm now talking about Leboa Platinum Mines in Limpopo. Some of you who are based in places like Hangwana, you'd know what I'm talking about, Atok. So I had to resolve community issues. The chief would come, he would raise issues with the mining bosses. I was one of the mining bosses and all of that. But I'm saying I had to start solving problems at a very young age. And all that I ever wanted to do was to be a lawyer, a brilliant lawyer. I remember, brothers and sisters, one night as I was lying on my bed, I think I knew who God was, but I wasn't intimate with him. Jesus, forget, I didn't even recognize him. But I knew that there was a God because I was baptized in church and all of that. So I remember lying on my bed and I said something. I said something in tears. I said, is this really the purpose? I mean, I thought, remember, brothers and sisters, I was still young. I thought the idea was for me to be this lawyer. Now I'm here with these elderly people, shaft sinkers. Some of them can't speak English, is a problem. I speak Fanakolo, the language that I had to learn at the mine. I've got old people, Afrikaner guys who are still hanging on to some racist tendencies. Is this really what has become of me? And I knew that my father wouldn't be very happy if I caused too much trouble because he was still working for that organization. And in fact, he was against this whole idea of me applying for a bursary there. So I was trapped into all of these things, brothers and sisters, because my old man also, he was part of the system. He had to comply like everyone else during those times. It was hard. But anyway, to cut the long story short, I painted that picture to tell you that God is faithful. I painted that picture to tell you that persevere. I painted that picture to tell you that it's okay to be ignorant. Whatever that you don't understand, whatever that is showing you, it's okay to be ignorant. And I painted that picture to say to you that stay obedient. Stay obedient. Don't rush into things. Don't give yourself an office. Don't say, I'm an apostle, I'm this. If he hasn't said so, stay obedient. Don't say you are a prophet. Don't say you are a teacher. Don't say you are an evangelist. Stay obedient. Stay on course. So, brothers and sisters, what has sparked all of this? So, I'm going to go quickly because this is the subject matter of as I said, of my autobiography, But there will be a book before that one that I'm busy with, and it will address what has actually happened. So what God does, He promotes you module by module. So the first module that I had related to what I just read in the scriptures. It related to what I've just read in Ephesians 4, verse 1. It was about me being enlightened about destiny. So I was shown all of this, in my own personal space. I believe that it applies to everybody. The same path that I was shown would probably apply to other people as well. But it is important, brothers and sisters, you'll see where the question of identity fits into your calling, where the question of identity fits into your marriage and other things. So anyway, brothers and sisters, I went through a lot. I've been recording videos. The gifts follow the calling, and he showed me this and that and that. But what I've never said, I've never mentioned an office, because he never gave me an office. I saw everything, what would become of me. I saw what would become of you, brothers and sisters, the rapture and all of that. I saw all of that. He showed me the book of Revelations. He specifically commanded me to go and read the book of Daniel. And I didn't know at that time that he was empowering me in terms of literature. I didn't know at that time that he was empowering me in terms of the wisdom that he gave to Daniel. I didn't know at that time that he was empowering me in terms of the prophetic dreams and visions that I consistently have each and every day, probably 2, 3, 4. It just depends on what I'm seeing. So that is what it was, brothers and sisters. Now, as a lawyer, finally, I qualified to be a lawyer, I think in 2003. And then as a lawyer, you'll always choose the area of law that you want to practice. And for me, because I spent a lot of time in corporate, I didn't go straight into law. I worked for a number of organizations, multinational organizations, local and so on. So as a lawyer, you'd always have a preference. My preference was commercial litigation. That was my preference. And I was involved with some high-profile cases in that space, and also labor law. I never anticipated or saw myself as somebody who would enter a family court. In fact, I saw it as an inferior court. Family court, criminal court, those were not my things. Road accident fund, those areas, I never saw myself touch. Yes, I studied them at school, at the university, but I just knew that I'm not meant for that. But anyway, brothers and sisters, what happened is that in 2021, when I had an encounter with the Lord for the first time, now he presented himself. We now started to know each other, and he started me at the very, very beginning. I met him in July, and towards the end of the year, there is this lady who came, the woman of God who came, and she said, Ndate Mraka, my brother has recommended you. I don't have any money. I want you to handle my divorce. And I said, I don't practice that area of law. But the lady was determined that I should do it. By the way, just in passing, I only finished that case last year. So that's God for you. I sat in those courts each and every day. I hated being there. I had all the reasons and the grounds for divorce. And every time I was in court, it was as if the whole thing was designed against me. My case, for some reason, would be the last one to be heard. And I would listen to multitudes of people presenting their cases, the reasons why they are divorcing, and the excitement that they felt when the magistrate finally declared that they were free and all of that. And that was the first one. And I took the case. It was a marathon. It was a very, very long case. The second case, it was very short. The couple had already divorced, so they just wanted us to help them with an application to tap into each other's pensions and all of that. And Mind you, brothers and sisters, I was making good money as a trial lawyer, a commercial litigator, and all of that. Now, all of a sudden, I come into this where people don't have money, I struggle. I have to fund their cases. When I say I, the attorney have to sign whatever arrangements, but I had to fund them because I go travel up and down, and But that's a long story, there, brothers and sisters. So anyway, the second one, that is what it was. And there was this magistrate. I just don't want to mention the name of the court, but he was full of himself. He'll be wearing a white shirt, nicely starched and ironed. And I appeared before him on 3 occasions. And on those 3 occasions, he made me feel like a little boy. And I want to borrow from the words of Malcolm X as well, because as I was attending this court, again, my case would be the last one, and I would be patient. I'll be angry, but I'll be patient. And I knew that there was something that was brewing in the supernatural, because normally I wouldn't stand for what I was seeing there. But there was this circus. When I say a circus, I mean a circus. So the magistrate would finally declare that the people are divorced. He will grant them the decree of divorce, whatever grounds, whatever terms that the parties had entered into. And the performance, like Malcolm X said, would start. You'll see people performing. It was a picnic. It was a circus. It was a party. And you're wondering, what happened? Didn't these people love each other at some stage? What has happened? Why are they hating each other so much? Why is there such a performance as if somebody was forced to be in this union, in this relationship? So, and then shortly after that, I got a call from another lady from Belfast. She wanted me to come and address her conference. I think she said it's a single couples conference, but it never took off. I never went there. I had planned everything. I'm sure she would remember the discussion that we had. But anyway, brothers and sisters, here is the point. Then in 2023, as I said, the angel of the Lord stood before me and said, go and remove barriers. And then from there, in 2024, he came back, I think on the 2nd of January, just after New Year's Day, the 2nd of January 2024 now. And then he was very specific about what he wanted me to do. But I kept it under wraps because I had to go through a whole lot of development and training and character and mindset change and all of that about what I thought I am and what God wanted me to be. Remember, brothers and sisters, for me was to be this top lawyer, revered lawyer. And when God said to me, or when the angel said to me, listen, law is just a tiny bit of what your calling is all about. Yes, it is part of it, but very tiny. So I had to go there, sit in those courts. I used to practice in the High Court. So I had to sit in the magistrate courts and listen and listen. And I'm not saying all magistrates are bad, but those that I appeared before, some of them were arrogant. Some of them had no regard for who I was, because here I thought I'm a counsel, I must be respected, I'm senior at the magistrate court, but no. But anyway, what happened, brothers and sisters, is that I watched this performance, I watched this circus, I watched people model the fact that they were granted a divorce, the excitement and all of that. And then that dawned on me. And then the wisdom of Daniel kicked in. Obviously, when God calls you, he gives you all the gifts. I'll talk about the gifts now. So the wisdom of Daniel kicked in. And first things first, I was told, based on the vision that I had on the 2nd of January 2024, where I saw convoys of vehicles or convoy of vehicles, and I saw people shouting in unison. They were all saying, "Help me with my marriage, help me with my marriage, help me with my marriage." Many people. So then it was refined. We're talking here about the barriers to a sustainable marriage. Now, brothers and sisters, I want you to hear me properly. I'm not talking about a successful marriage. I'm talking about barriers to a sustainable marriage. So that is when the exercise and the research began, because the court where I sat and I was scolded and I observed what was going on, it was the first leg. Then from there, I studied the 21 marriages in the Bible, selective marriages, 21 marriages from the source itself. Then the 115 jurisdictions around the world, how they see marriages, and then how they, the stats in general about divorces and all of that. And then I was shown like 10 areas through this wisdom that was given to Daniel as well. We can call it the mantle of barriers to law. Where I was just one of them, but there were 9 others that I was shown. And the last one obviously took place in April, where I had close to 30 prophetic visions about marriage, what it is, and 2 people were chosen. 2 people were chosen for me, let's say, to study, but I was studying them through prophetic visions. I was shown this is how this one is going to react, this is going to happen, that is going to happen. And as God had shown me, it happened exactly like that. So, brothers and sisters, after going through that entire exercise, the 21 marriages in the Bible from the source, I learned to understand what is God's position on marriage. And I also learned what is Jesus' position on marriage, what is Jesus' position on adultery, on family, on finances. I learned also what is the position of the Holy Spirit in as far as marriages are concerned. I learned all of these things. And also, I learned about the church, what the church has done to the original concept of marriage to where we are now. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm saying this with a broken heart, in the sense that when I came to my home country, South Africa, I studied the trends, and I looked at the civil unions, I looked at the customary marriages, and I looked at the normal marriages that we go through as Christians. Remember, we 85% Christians in South Africa. So I went through all of these, brothers and sisters, and the experience was just too painful to watch. The stats are there. Those of you who wants to go through the stats, you can do that yourself. You will see that the divorce rate is very high amongst Christians, and these are the people who have been cancelled before they get married. Some go through this counseling for weeks and weeks and weeks. And when they are standing on that altar and they're exchanging vows, there are lots of fairy tales there, because people think that love will sustain this marriage, they will forever be together and all of that. Well, the outcome of the research that I conducted points to a different picture, but this is not the right time to go through the outcomes and all of that. What I'm doing now, because there's too much material involved, what I'm doing now, I'm working on material for workshops so that I can workshop people as we continue. But anyway, the outcome, the 4 outcomes that I saw were different, and funny enough, love was not part of it, because there are people who believe that love will sustain a marriage. Now, if it does, brothers and sisters, explain to me why arranged marriages, like what the Indian community and other communities practice, for instance, they are sustained, most of them, and where there are choices, the Christian marriages that we enter into, why are they not sustained? By the way, if you think about it, there's probably close to 200 to 300 divorces every year. You can work conservatively on a figure of 20,000 to 30,000 divorces every month. So that is how big it is. And then taking into account that 85% of what South Africa is all about is Christianity. So 85% of those divorces are Christians divorces. So that got me thinking, brothers and sisters, as I went through. Only the Lord could have sustained me because it was a lot of work. For instance, I looked at the American stats and I discovered that I had hoped that divorces would be skyrocketing in the US. They were not. But the reason why the divorces were not skyrocketing in the US is not because they are doing anything better themselves. It is based on two grounds only. One, they marry late. And secondly, they marry for strategic reasons. That is what they do. You bring this, you bring that. This is what we do. That's what it is. And even people who still believe in the book of Corinthians about love, sometimes I hear them. Brothers and sisters, quoting the scripture, but they don't paint the whole picture. So they will talk about what love is and all of that, but they never say, especially between a husband and a wife or whoever it is, that love should also not count faults. And here, brothers and sisters, I'm not talking about a situation whereby somebody is committing adultery or anything like that. I'm just talking about somebody counting the faults of the other spouse. Oh, he did this, he did that, he did that. So, yeah, even there, brothers and sisters, you can just see that the scriptures are being quoted selectively and it doesn't help the cause. But what am I saying, brothers and sisters, is very simple. What happened is that for 37 years, I didn't know since that prayer. I didn't know that I was up to something. Recently, supernaturally, I saw two things. I saw in spaces where only me would see. I saw some supernatural events. I saw a sticker, a small sticker written 37. It was plucked where only me would see and not everyone else. I would see that. And then I saw also another sticker placed at another strategic area where I saw number 16. And I didn't understand, brothers and sisters, what these numbers meant. And I'm talking as recent as 2 weeks ago. I didn't understand what they meant, and I started praying and all of that. And then I was reminded, you remember when you were at Atok, lying on your bed, crying to become a lawyer 37 years ago. So basically, we're reminding you that now you have been made, or you have been given a larger scope. You are blessed, Let me not go any further than that. But law was just a tiny, tiny bit of what we were preparing you for, the calling. So anyway, brothers and sisters, that is what happened. And last week, Monday, I had 3 visions, and in these visions, I will briefly go through them. The first vision, my office was confirmed as an exhorter, that you are now in this office. Now think about all the best of the best exhorters in the Bible. Jesus Christ, he will touch on the doctrine, but he will also touch on the application. Paul, he will touch on the doctrine, he will touch on the application. How did Paul do it? Through letters. And remember the guy, the son of the encourager, or the son of encouragement, I think they called him Barnabas. He's the one who went to fetch Paul to come and teach. So, yes, within that group, you fall into an office of an exhorter. The office of an exhorter, it's closely related to the office of a teacher, but I've always maintained that I'm not part of the fivefold ministry. So teachers, they are very good with doctrine. They impart knowledge. Exhorters may not necessarily be good with doctrine. Yes, the doctrine binds them, but they are more into application. That is what exhorters do. So yes, brothers and sisters, now, of course, I will run lots and lots of workshops around the question of barriers to marriage or sustainable marriages. I've ran some workshops about purpose. I've ran some workshops about vocation as I speak. Yeah, some workshops around vocation, some workshops about around destiny. So what I'll be doing now, brothers and sisters, I'll be focusing more on barriers to sustainable marriage. And I started seeing a lot of young men asking me for advice. I want to marry. What should I be looking at? Young men saying, when are you going to put together a workshop where we can, so this is the time. So, brothers and sisters, let me quickly go through what I was shown. Number one, my office was confirmed. I've never said I had an office. I kept on saying I'm not part of the fivefold ministry. I don't know where I fit. So, yes. Number two, I was shown that the Lord is going to move on religion and he was going to move on theology. What he showed me, brothers and sisters, I don't think it only applied to me, but he showed me, as I was with a whole lot of people, professors, we were in an auditorium, and as we were in the auditorium, we were debating and arguing about silly things like biblical stuff, of course, but we were arguing about, to give you an example, whether David was not happy with the one wife that he had to look at, we were arguing about stuff like that, brothers and sisters. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was silly. And there was this professor who was arguing, and then the whole class was arguing, or delegates, but there was no one leading us. We were all facing one direction. Then there was this huge explosion, and when the explosion happened, I was the only one who was saved. There was this angel of light who came at the right time. Like when the airbag is being deployed, as the car hits something, the airbag is deployed. So that is what happened. This whole thing, light covered me, almost like a foam. It covered me. And I knew instinctively then where and how to get out. And at the same time, there was a voice that said, don't look back, meaning that that explosion has consumed everybody who was there. What I can tell you, brothers and sisters, these were professors of theology. These were religious people, almost the same as the Pharisees in the days of Jesus. So that was the first vision. The second vision. The first one, I was shown that you are now in this office, and two gentlemen that I know very well were presented to me, and I understood what the Lord was saying, that look at the character of the characteristics of this one, and look at that one. One was a pastor. The last time I saw him was, 16 years ago. The other one, he runs a huge organization in Centurion. His offices are in Centurion. I've known this gentleman for years, and he's into training and development space, so I know where to find him. But he brought me these two gentlemen for me to understand what the whole thing was all about. And the third vision, it was a purification vision. There was a young lady, 18, 19 years old, who was throwing me with salt, but this salt was in the form of stones. And she was throwing me with those stones, salty stones, I'll call them that. And then until I said to her, what did I do to you? Why are you doing this? And she said, come around. I came around and I saw her, and she was with her sister who was like 25 years old. And the mom, the siblings looked alike. And I asked her, do you even know who I am? And the sister said, yeah, I know your job. I said, well, how do you know me? And she couldn't go any further than that, But here is the point. They were defeated in the realm of the spirit. And as I left, the young lady, she then threw salt at me. But this was now the real salt as you know it. And I understood that to mean purification, because they gave up on the argument that they came up with. So look at this, brothers and sisters. For 36 years, the Lord gave me visions in the last 5 years, visions and dreams, and sometimes I was ignorant. I didn't know what they meant, but I spoke about them. I was obedient. So the point here is that never give up. Continue to pray, continue to focus on what the Lord is showing you. I didn't expect that one of these days the Lord would say, now I confirm you in this particular office. Now let's talk about what that means now. When the Lord says you are in that office, what does it mean? Firstly, it means the calling has been fulfilled. Secondly, it means that the gifts are going to follow the calling. Thirdly, it means that the anointing will follow, the power that should go with the office, not you, with the office. That would follow. Fourthly, the protection follows, because I have noticed that now I'm frequently visited by some more powerful angels that I haven't met before, that I haven't seen before. So as you grow spiritually, you get exposed to more mean, more problematic spirits, principalities, and all of that. You get exposed to that. And these angels, some of them high-ranking angels, they frequent me now. When I say they frequent me, they come, they go, but you can see that the Lord is saying to you that now you are protected. If you thought that the ones that you see are the only ones that are protecting you, you got it wrong. There are more powerful angelic beings that now frequent wherever I am, the space that I am. So, again, brothers and sisters, so two modules. One has got to do with destiny and then also with purpose. And that talks to identity, who you are, your calling, your gifts, and all of that. And then the second module, where the Lord was very clear, or the angel of the Lord was very clear, talk to my people about barriers to sustainable marriage. Talk to them, guide them, coach them, counsel them, negotiate with them, whatever that you do. Teach them. Try to show them that biblically, this is how I see the marriage. Biblically, this is how Jesus saw the marriage. And biblically, in line with the fruits of the Spirit, this is how the Holy Spirit would present himself to you. So when you are in that marriage, the marriage must reflect the fruits of the Spirit. So brothers and sisters, that was what it was. And in conclusion, I just wanted to say that it will happen for you as well, because all these benefits of the office will now accrue to me. They have already started accruing to me. And of course, blessings will accompany the benefits. And blessings are blessings. It's everything. It's resources, it's peace, it's joy, it's whatever it is. So the blessings that accrue from that office accrues to you. So in short, brothers and sisters, we have started, we have opened an office in Midrand, and obviously this is not limited to Christians, because what the Lord is saying to us, all of us, as part of our Great Commission as well, is that we must lead people to Jesus. And the people may be, I don't know, of Muslim, Islamic beliefs, or they may be Muslims, they may be Hindus, they may be Sangomas, they may be whatever that they are. They come so that they should be led to the Lord. So this is not like a Christian sanctuary, where people would want me to sit with them and pray for them and lay hands on them. It's not going to happen there. It will happen at our prayer meetings, the ones that we have started. And in September, there will be many, many meetings around that time, because it's just me, brothers and sisters. I don't believe in Easter. But as you know, September has got its own challenges. Perhaps one day one can record a video about September. But Easter, the people around me, if they want to celebrate Easter, I can't say no to them. I'm just weary, brothers and sisters, of this whole thing of idolatry. I don't watch the conclave. Please don't send me videos about who is the next pope. I've seen people doing that. Please don't. I don't even watch them. I have seen what some teams do in South Africa, Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs, where people sprinkle muti openly, and Christians are watching. They go, they fill up the stadiums. So I'm just saying, brothers and sisters, we're serving a very jealous God. Be careful of things like that. And ultimately, brothers and sisters, what the Lord has done, He has confirmed my calling. This is, I don't know whether you want to call it a governance calling, because if you think about the guy like Daniel, the one that I was told to study diligently, and you think about a guy like Joseph, we can agree, brothers and sisters, that yes, Daniel was called a prophet, but really Daniel was not a prophet. He was a governor, and then he was an advisor to the king. God gave him knowledge of literature, just like He has given me. God gave him prophetic visions, just like He has given me. He gave him a lot of wisdom, just like He has given me. So in short, be obedient, persevere, stay on course. Because if the Lord can remind me or remember the day when I was lying in bed as a 22-year-old crying to say that my dream of becoming the best lawyer in the country has been taken away, and He reminded me of that day and said, now look at you, I've given you much bigger, more power, more authority than what you ever wanted to be. So if it has happened to me, brothers and sisters, it can happen to you. I will see you in the next video, but don't give up. Keep on working on it. As you can see, the excitement. I know what the office means. I know the benefits that are going to accrue. When I say the benefits, I mean the blessings. And I know that I deserve every single one of them, because for 37 years, and 35 years of those 37 years, the Lord was just working on my character to refine me to be the man that I am today, the person that you see today, because I wasn't half as what I am today. I had my own agendas. Thank you, brothers and sisters. I hope I've shortened this one much better than the first video, because it ran for like an hour and a half. So hopefully this one is much shorter. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, brothers and sisters.